You know how I am about that, man. You know, I'm a tailgater. That's all I can say, man.
That's right. He's a tailgater. Pull up to the bumper for New Sports. Victor Allen's own unique fan perspective on sports. That's right. Written and directed and produced by the bald-headed black man. Ladies and gentlemen, and now I bring to you the man that the ladies have nicknamed Sexual Chocolate. Here he is in the flesh. He's Vic! Yeah! Sportsman! Yeah! Okay.
I can be proud that my Facebook following, as far as likes, has gone from 16 to 22.
That's a huge jump. That's all I can say.
I'm on it, you guys. I got my Facebook followers following me, 22. So I'm growing. Okay, man, you know what? Did you appreciate Muhammad Ali in his earlier days?
I did. Flow like a butterfly,
yes.
Sting like a bee.
Did his mouth roar, and did you go to the side of yes, no, too much?
No, because that's what you wanted, especially because at that time they didn't want black men at all,
right,
to ever hold their head up, even look remotely proud, much less talk stuff.
Now,
so I totally loved it. I embraced it, and that was part of the reason he was one of my early heroes.
Why do we have this affinity for everybody saying don't brag about what you do? If everybody tells you you are the baddest at what you do.
Because I think overall humility is a virtue. I think it's virtuous to be humble in certain ways. And I think that in terms of discipline, that it allows you to maximize. You know, in martial arts, Vic, they teach you to contain all of that.
Have your chi.
Right. You know, they say even getting mad at your opponent can get in the way of your accuracy.
How many martial arts fighters are doing WWF and traditional boxing right now?
I wonder. I know that a lot of them have studied martial arts. I don't know how many. See, that depends on your definition. I know a lot of people in mixed, have studied martial arts.
Studied it.
But I don't know how many, quote unquote. I don't even know what makes you a martial artist.
I'm just saying.
Probably he's probably being a preacher. You probably just declare it one day.
You know what? I think the part I'm going to get into, you're talking about Richard Sherman. The lead in is that, Richard Sherman, his jersey as a defensive back cracks the top 10 in NFL jerseys sold. All the other positions are quarterbacks dominating it and a couple of running backs. And here he is, a defensive back. Now watch this. If he never did what he did, is it a good or bad thing? And right now you got two. He's already apologized as it relates to off the field performances because they want to get right with the traditionalists who say, you know what, you really turn people off. This could affect your sales. I said, well, if you thought like Muhammad Ali, did Muhammad Ali care about sales? Or did he care about the message he was saying, I'm the baddest? What's the difference in Richard Sherman saying he's the baddest and Muhammad Ali saying he's the baddest?
It's not a lot of it's as different as the context. It is different in the sense that in that day, Muhammad Ali's statement of it was political, and that's what we forget today. In today's world, it's not political. But on the other hand, of all the things to worry about, right or wrong, okay, I judge my wrongs, Vic, by how they impact other people of the world.
Right.
That's why this is like a 0.1 on the wrong scale. Right. It's not even a 1.
Right.
I mean, if anything, he's just guilty of being a little arrogant in public.
Right.
That's at the most. That and who's affected by that? Who's the victim here? So therefore, it's not. So, if you don't like it or it bothers you, okay, that's the worst of the outcome. So, no, it isn't that big a deal. It isn't that bad, and it isn't a big deal. No one lost any limbs.
Right.
So it's whether or not you care or not. So, no. And here's the thing. Know that even the people who are complaining are glad that it happened because they need stuff like this to write about. They need it. They absolutely need it. And that's why you want these things to occur when you're a columnist.
Right.
Because it gives you stuff to talk about. Without that, it would be boring.
Right. So when you have a team of people saying we take a survey, and the survey, because in the NFL you have a short lifespan, and when you are at that moment where you have the greatest potential to make the greatest amount of money, do you listen to the financial incentives? Because everybody's going to say, this is going to affect you. Or do you actually say, look, I love what I do and I'm passionate at the moment. We're gladiators on the field. So you want me to stop at the moment where I'm actually trying to bust my to make sure we win. And then when we do, at that moment, I feel exhilarated about somebody who is already talking trash to me. The point they're going to get into is, don't worry about the man who lost. It's just the man who lost didn't say it in front of America and millions of people. So I was going, listen to the football players who tell you this is every day. The fans are not ready to accept somebody in your face. And I'm going, but you guys have never played this level of professional sports. How would you know what they're feeling? I think taking the balcony seat is the position of where you can afford to be like unemotional. So I find a problem when we can turn around and pick sports that's okay to be braggadocio about. In certain sports we go, oh, you can beat each other's ass on the ice, but this one, don't tell everybody you're the baddest. Don't do it. I have a problem with that. That's just me. I'm not saying it's good or bad. Let me just say this. Is he happy that his sales broke the top 10 and that it was the best position to make? Or he shouldn't have made that position and vocalizing through that interview with Aaron Andrews. Should he have not done that?
Well, no, I actually don't think that. I think that the people who represent what you're talking about are in a distinct minority.
Right.
And again, I think they half of those supported on the down low because it's all about getting sales out. The public doesn't care.
Right.
That's why his jersey became a top selling. I don't think his people are telling him to not do this.
Right.
I think his people are going, great job, you're selling more stuff.
There you go.
I don't think that that's the way it works at all. So I think, like I said, I think it gives the media something to talk about. So the people who want to criticize him, it only gives them something of which to circle around. That's
right.
all. That's all it does. And so, and again, I don't think the public really cares. Again, well, they do care. They care in the positive. That's why they're buying the shirts.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
But I don't think there is any. I think that some of the things they're trying to promote, because again, that's them writing their column.
Right.
Is that there's a negative backlash.
Right.
But the negative backlash is from people who don't count.
Right.
So
that's exactly
so
what
it
I'm
doesn't make
saying.
any difference.
So at the end of the day, with Mario, we're in that room, and everybody's going like, here's all our players. Victor's over there. He's kind of quiet. He doesn't say too much. He's kind of quiet. The rest of us on like, yeah, get in this. Let's work this. It's like Drew Brees when he's doing the pregame. He's in the circle and he's ramping everybody up. I said, do you know you really can't fake that? You're supposed to be actually on par with it. You're supposed to be at another level. So to me, I'm going, we need more Richard Shermans, not because the average person, everyday fan can't handle it. Mario, I'm with you. I think the average everyday fan has no problem with it.
And what's one of the things I didn't think about that was very accurately pointed out by one of the newscasters was that he didn't cuss.
No.
He didn't say.
Nope.
He spoke well. He didn't say things that were
right.
Right. You could say that with your grandmother in the room.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was all about, at least to me, about the respect for the folks around you. That even goes for the use of the N-word. I don't, when you're with your friends, say what you want.
Right.
You have to watch what you say around mom and grandmom and all them, and what you do at church. Yeah, you got to watch. But hell,
deliver.
He, and the brothers from Compton. I would wear his jersey right now
all day.
Yeah, I'd wear a jersey because you know what it represents, backing up what you say. And here at Pack Stereo, we believe in that. We outwork people, and we get it. And there you go.
It's like this. If somebody says, do you think you're the best? I says, well,
hell yeah.
All you guys keep saying that I am. I guess I am if you guys all say it. Right?
Vic, I believe you spoke. People have asked me, I said, I intend to be the best at what I do in the entire world.
Right.
In the entire world. And they just look at me. I said, that's how serious. I intend to be the best at this. Yes. Of all people.
Right. They
just go, wow.
How dare you?
Okay.
How dare you say you're the best? We can say you're the best because we traditionally say the athlete should wait for us to tell you you're the best.
No.
Don't say anything. Keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, but go for it. No, you have to go for it. It's your peers who let you know.
Right.
But see, because I know what that means. That means that when other folks are taking a break, you're working.
Right.
When other people are eating crap, you're not. Right. So it's the same thing that goes with the territory around even here and what we do. There are people who work their ass off.
I agree. I would rather listen to a post-game show of all the football players giving their analogy of what happened than to have a whole bunch of, no disrespect for you guys who are in broadcast journalism. I haven't played professional sports, and I'm not trying to be either role. I'm not trying to be like the broadcast journalists who have earned it, nor the football players. But I have a problem with people who actually sit there and never put on the jersey on a playing field and don't even know what the attitude is like to get in there. You think too much. So I'm all for Richard and what he's doing. Yes, go on and apologize because you had to satisfy the other group. But at the same time, you do what you do.
Can we all get a hug?
That's already wrong.
Come
all
on,
right,
everybody.
Stop.
Come together.
Let's go to
Kumbaya.
the next one. Let's go to the next
Kumbaya.
one. Next one up here is Kevin Durant right now is on a pace that is on the grind. And I'm going to set the story up because it's easy to turn around and say, is he playing at an MVP level? Of course he is. And he's had 8 straight games of 30-plus points per game.
I saw that, Vic T. 8 straight. Is that a record?
And wait, not yet. And 40-plus games are in there as well, and 154 or 56-point game. So he's averaging 30, almost 37.
He's going after Michael Jordan. Yeah. But Michael Jordan, I think, had the most 50. He has the most 50-plus games. I saw 3 of those.
Yes. Michael has the most, period, whatever you want to break it down to. The part I was asking is Kevin Durant the MVP? Lock it up now.
Well, you wait till the end of the season.
Well, see, that's the whole question because we're not going to get to the end of the season, and
we're not.
Where we going? No, we're not going to get to the end of the season.
It's the end of the season. No, that's it for me, Vic.
No,
I'm done. I'm gone.
We're not getting to the end of the season today. Not today. So today
wasn't ready. Jeez. Scared me and shit. I had a psychic moment.
Well, you know.
Like, bye, PMC.
I have that power.
Tell back, I said, be strong. Yeah.
Why today? Where's Miko when I need her? Oh, by the way, Miko will be doing her broadcast show today, starting somewhere about 7:30 p.m. Blog Talk Radio. Check her out. That's a plug. Now, let me go on and go to this.
They sell those plugs. I've seen some of those for sale. It's kind of painful to me.
You know what? She did bring... I'm getting off the subject again. All right, you guys. This is New Sports. I don't have a degree in journalism. I'm a fan reporter. I have no inside information. I just have my opinion. I can own it, and I can afford to be wrong more than I am right. That's my premise of this show. So this is what I'm doing right now with Kevin. Kevin has his best man out, Russell Westbrook, and we have learned now how valuable he is. Everybody knows this, okay? And he's amped up his game. LeBron has a limping Wade out, and everybody knows that he's got too many ailments, and he's not going to come back to what he used to be, but he is still the plug that makes them win the championship. So no matter how much he's suffering throughout the year, when he comes to play, they end up winning, but it gets harder every year. Both players are without their number 2, if you want to call it, or number 1, respectively, how they see it. LeBron seems to be pacing himself. Is the pace to savor the time of the playoffs versus Kevin going, I have to play this way because we need a better position because we're in the Western Conference where there are more competitive teams. Portland, San Antonio, Clippers, Houston, Golden State. Well, Miami has only one team to worry about, Indiana, and everybody else is like dwelling around 500. So if that's the stakes...
Even though that may or may not be relevant in the playoffs, because, the NBA, which the NFL's moving that way,
right.
The NBA always did send every damn body to the playoffs.
Wait, I know that. Well, that's what I'm saying. Would you say it's almost Kevin's responsibility because the Western Conference is so competitive that he has to play at this rate because he doesn't have mediocre teams in the Western Conference? LeBron can pace himself because they're in the number 2 position. They're not trying to fight for the best record. So he is not required to score 40 points a game, whereas Kevin. So with that being said, does the MVP go to the person who's pacing themselves to stay in the position of number 2? Or Kevin saying, if I don't play at this rate, we can end up at the 4th position, the 5th position?
I just think people over-intellectualize it. They play hard and you get what you get. I don't think any player tells himself, I'm going to do this for now,
Right.
just to show or to pick up for some. I think everybody just goes out and plays hard. When somebody's hurt, you know that he ain't there, so you have
True.
to do whatever
Stand
it
and
takes.
deliver, right?
Yeah, that stands without even saying. So I think a lot of it is at least for the most part our attempts to analyze. I know one thing: the Miami Heat. These are veteran players who know the value of the playoffs. It's not just the Miami, it's the other ones. They know the value of the playoffs. So there are strategic things they got to do in terms of health. But it's everybody. Everybody knows that it is right now Miami's game to lose, okay? And no matter how good Kevin Durant does, because of the past and all those things, they're still going to be considered the underdogs.
Right.
Even with him doing the 30-plus points a game, they're still going to be considered the underdogs because Miami is just a big dog in that fight. Who's going to vote against who? Nobody. And the other thing is Miami, their bench is known for stepping forward in playoffs like other benches just don't. They just don't produce like that big.
Now, here's the thing that's happening. Now, I'm not saying this is a foregone conclusion, but the numbers can be skewed because we know that. When they take the numbers based on history and what has happened, Miami, Ray Allen is in a terrible drought. The role players are not producing. Wade is injured. LeBron can't step up and burn himself out. Strategically, if I was the coach, I would say, do not burn yourself out. The worst thing we can get from you is you being injured. So they're more strategic. They're already saying.
And with all that, there still would be my number one ranking I would still rate them number one for championship.
Right. So I think there's two different missions here. I think Kevin Durant is going, all right, I can't relax and pace myself. You can't pace yourself in the West. I'm sorry. No matter how much you do what you do, you got teams that actually have your number. I mean, I watched them play the other night. The one thing I did appreciate with Portland, when they went against Portland, don't you want to see Kevin Durant get mad? Don't you want to see him get to that next level, Mark? Come on, man.
I don't know.
Don't you want to see him get
not necessarily. No, because I consider loss of composure.
But he didn't lose composure.
But I'm just saying, to me, when people get mad in things that involve precision, usually it's not going to make you better. To me, no. I mean, there's a degree of that, like when people challenge you and you step forward.
Michael did it.
No, but I would say, but straight out mad.
No, not mad.
No, I think so. So I don't
like
know.
That.
No, I don't really feel the urge to see him do any of that, and I'm very comfortable with what he's doing, and I don't think that champions really think about pacing themselves. I just don't. I think you go out and say, because to me, the mindset of being a champion means you go for excellence every given moment. That's what's involved in the mindset.
Right.
So it's like, okay, it's like somebody asking me, Mario, do you guys pace yourself in pack stereo? I wouldn't know what they're talking about.
Right.
If you go for excellence, then you're constantly on the go.
You don't take time off.
No, you don't even think like that. You don't even think like that.
But you do play smarter.
Well, yeah, I mean,
smarter
at a given moment, because there's certainly times when your leg is hurt, or your head is hurt, or your back. Same thing with this. You might be tired. So that at any given moment, but just in your consciousness is the fact that you're always bringing it. Right. So I don't expect him. I expect him to do. That's how you have your breakout year, right? That's how you do better this year than last year, right?
Right. Now, PMC, I agree. You predict it's a lock. I actually predict it's a lock too. The reason why. He has 4 scoring NBA titles. Now, of course, LeBron has won the MVP. The other part that I have to do is take a step back and realize that wonder if they don't finish in the top 3 positions. That's a possibility. Well, that means some other players stepped up on some other teams. So you can't ignore those teams that actually say Portland may step up and be the number 1 seed. What constitutes the MVP? Well, the MVP is not included with the playoffs.
Well, that's why your point thing, PMC. I can see him getting the MVP, but
that's the
he's
question.
Gotten it without winning the championship,
right?
And that could certainly continue.
And that's why I said, to me, for the regular season, I think he's a lock.
For the MVP. You have to see. Like I said, it happens. You have to see. He could get hurt tomorrow. That somebody,
Yeah, and if all things being normal, the 2 things we don't want to have happen is Kevin Durant and LeBron James getting injured. because then we just don't need more injuries for anyone, for that matter. But those two, it just changes
I'm already
the game.
with Russell Westbrook. It's a problem.
Yeah. All right, you guys, we're going to go over to what we call this segment called the NBA playoffs, 500 teams or better or worse. How do you look at them as far as making the playoffs? And when you look at the teams, I didn't print this out for you actually to know the actual numbers. I did it for the purpose of inside the studio, because you guys can always go look at the standings. You already know it. What we're trying to find out is that, will teams that are playing in the Eastern Conference below 500, who can make the playoffs or who will not make the playoffs? And we're going to use our insider information. Mario Hensley is our insider here at Pack Stereo TV. So, as an insider, he's going to bring perspective. He can't use philosophical history. He can't use no practice. He can't use no ex-girlfriends. He's going to tell you what teams are going to make it, because he can't get away with this one.
This is a motley crew. Hey, how come the Eastern one you listed only people under 500, and in the West only you listed a bunch of people over 500?
Because it's the record. The part that they're talking about, how the Eastern Conference, where New York and Toronto is, they said, wait a minute, there are 4 separate conferences. Well, in one conference, there's nobody over 500, so somebody's going to get in the playoffs playing 500 or worse.
Oh, that's the NBA. That's the way it's all. Because they always said everybody but like the last 2 teams. Everybody goes but the last 2 teams.
Right.
It's terrible. It's always been crap.
And in the Eastern Conference, the 7th and 8th positions are Brooklyn and Charlotte at 18 and 22 and 18 and 25.
That's why I said that's terrible.
So there is
that's terrible.
On this side of it, it becomes they're going to be
Look at the Lakers.
Oh, wait a minute. Eastern Conference. The Eastern Conference are going to get playoff teams playing under 500. They actually have
Vic.
Come on, man.
Wait, Brooklyn is about to start a winning streak, and they're going to win 90% of the games.
They're in the 7th position. They're already in the playoffs right now.
Well, I'm saying, so they're going to be, but their record's going to be better.
Right.
Cleveland's record's going to be better.
Okay. Wait a minute. So here's the question. Look at Boston, New York, Cleveland, and Detroit.
Do I have to?
Yes, you do. As an insider, outside of the 8th position, Cleveland's going to get in. That means who do they knock? The 7th position, the 8th position? Because it's going to change.
You know what? At least I've seen them play good ball. That's the only reason why I'm going for that. I've seen them have very good moments, Vic. I've just seen moments of good ball with them.
Right.
Maybe it's not consistent and stuff, but at least when you see those moments, you go like, oh, yeah, well, they can ball.
Right.
They can ball when they need to at times. They can do it.
I like Cleveland. They're young. They're up and coming. Brooklyn seems to be finding...
I don't know.
Wait a minute.
No. We don't need to have all of the oldies implode at the same time. See, I'm not ready to say that they're doing that. See, that's what everybody's saying. I'm not ready to say that. What? Everybody's saying all the oldies are imploding. Let's just see.
So let me go to the one that everybody doesn't realize, that between Toronto, which is they're already above, of course, the 7th position, but you have New York lurking in a conference that's behind. Will New York make it to the playoffs out of this group? Now, remember, they may be in the 11th in the total Eastern Conference, but in the division, I believe they're like 2nd place. There's a chance, if they win the division, if they catch up,
they can also wake up and be a better team.
Right.
I mean, certain teams you think could do it more than others because they have a little bit more in terms of personnel.
Yep.
And that's the only reason you think maybe Brooklyn could turn it on. You know Cleveland can play good at times. New York, you know they're supposed to on paper.
Right.
If they're healthy enough. But, we're not expecting, we're expecting Boston to lose but be steady.
Yeah.
Philly to lose but be steady. Detroit to lose but be steady. And Charlotte is another one where we don't, lose but be steady. So it's Brooklyn, Cleveland, or New York to step up. Vic, I'm going to go with Cleveland.
See,
I think New York and it's a whole New York. You know what, New York, you guys are catching hell.
And wait a minute,
catching hell.
And Woodson, the coach, is on the other side because Tyson Chandler already had his opinion, which means that's not the proper place to talk about and
Yeah.
taking a shot at Woodson.
Right.
Woodson has already talked to him behind closed doors. The problem
Shut
is,
up, mother.
the problem
High yellow
is,
son of a.
they got to get past turning around. New York, it looks like you guys have given up. Something has happened on the inside that we don't realize. So,
Totally
okay.
look like they giving up. Totally looks
Right.
Not even see. At some point, you have to play for your own self-respect.
Right.
To me,
Right.
I've been on the losing teams, and you play for self-respect.
Yeah, you do.
And I don't get it. So
Yeah. So let me look at it this way. Mario picks Cleveland. I actually am looking at Cleveland maybe. I'm looking at Brooklyn, believe it or not, with all their struggles. First-year coach, the aging two veterans, the youth that's on the other side of the court that needs to step up, and they're 18 and 22. I said, with all that in front of them, and they're almost at 500, I could see Brooklyn stepping up because the nature of what's been going against them. So I pick Brooklyn's going to squeak in, and you pick Cleveland. We'll see how it goes. The end of the year.
I think, it's just amazing how bad
Right.
that all of that is. It's just amazing.
Now, let's take it to the Western Conference because it's harder here because this is where they're doing the balling. And even if you are over 500, a 500 team like Memphis is at, like 20 and 20. Denver's at 20 and 20. And they're
Where are the Lakers, by the way?
Lakers are down at
That's
13.
That's what I hear you say it.
13th.
Oh,
13th position. Remember now, I had already said earlier in the year, I'll be shocked if they win over 35 games. And who do I like, Swaggy P? Nick Young is a baby mamba. How dare I say that? But if you watch him play, I tell you what, let Nick Young go from the Lakers based on the current condition right now in L.A. and watch what happens.
Dude, you've had a number of people that have been very solid players who left the Lakers to go on and start other places, specifically at the guard position, okay? So you know how we are with that, okay? Because we have a certain high level, but everybody leaves here and starts.
Right.
They go right to some other team and starts, all I can say.
And he started before on weaker teams.
Yep.
That didn't count for anything. But now what he has done, he has taken the role of what Kobe does on the floor in a way of being able to have that swag. I like his swag, and we need that. So please, whatever you do. Now, in the meantime, I'll get into some other conditions. Let's just look at the teams right now. You have Golden State at the 6th position. You have Dallas at the 7th, and Phoenix at the 8th. The 8th position is 23 and 17. You look below there. You got Memphis, Denver, Minnesota, New Orleans, and Lakers. Mario, one of these teams are going to bump a 7th or 8th position. Which team? Which team?
And I'm just thinking how Memphis, Denver, and Minnesota, all of them look stronger than Brooklyn and New York. I don't know about Cleveland, but they all look better than Brooklyn and New York.
But because they're in the Western Conference, it's different.
It's just interesting when you look at the quality of the teams. You have to actually come down to New Orleans to get a team that's as bad as the New York teams.
Thank you.
Wow. And you know what?
I knew it. This is not me. This is him.
Take that, New York.
That's cold. That is so cold.
Thank you, the basketball kings.
That's wrong.
You guys suck.
Now he's talking about.
Hey, New Yorkers talk a lot of shit.
Not the professionals.
I'm just saying to L.A. They hate L.A. They hate the Lakers.
But not the professionals.
No, this is all about sports. This is sports.
This is street.
They know New Yorkers know what I'm talking about. I got family in New York. I love them, but they hate the Lakers too. Everybody loves beating LA. So this is the time, just like Richard Sherman, we should rub it in their face.
Right.
What's New York? How's your basketball now?
That's wrong. This is wrong. Now let me do this. They keep it on point because he's having his Merry Christmas moment. All right.
Okay, I'm better.
I know you feel much better. All right, still we're left here because I believe Memphis is in the 9th position, Denver's in the 10th, and Minnesota, who plays 500 ball. There are 3 teams here that are not in the 8th position. They have to play better. I don't think anybody's going to touch Golden State. Phoenix is subject to a condition because they're playing a little bit better. So here it is, Mario. Well, Memphis, Denver, and Minnesota get into the playoff spot. All 3?
Can I have one question?
Yes, you
Memphis worked out some of that inside stuff?
You know what? This overcoming injuries.
Because they were fighting. They had a little dissension too.
Yeah, they did, but the injuries hit them early.
Because I liked Memphis. I thought I would have thought if one was to check. Now here's the thing: Denver has looked good too.
Right.
Denver has been balling.
Right. So here's my whole thing.
I don't know if
it's
all West.
When Marc Gasol was out injured, that's the center point.
Right.
He comes back, whole different game. So
they still can't beat the Clippers.
Yeah, I'm gonna still say Memphis is in easy. Now that's one of the teams. Now let's go on over and say Denver or Minnesota. Either one of those teams get in the playoffs. Ooh.
Minnesota got problems too because they haven't. See, some of them it's that dissension. You keep hearing about.
You hear about
issues with Love and them.
Right.
So I'm gonna go. I got to go with Denver because at least I've seen Denver. You always tune into Denver and they ball.
Right.
Even though they're never quite good enough.
Right.
They've been that way for a number of years. They bring it. So I go Denver.
I would say Memphis is the only team I see getting a lock in on this. I think Denver and Minnesota will suffer.
I think they're going to suffer. Anybody in that little group is going to suffer.
It's going to suffer. You got 6 solid teams in the playoffs right now. Remember, after the All-Star game, everybody changes up. And the best teams that tend to have, and I'm doing this without looking at their bench. When you have a deep bench, go with the team that has the deeper bench, even if they have the worst record right now, because they have more horses, and the injuries are going to be injuries. So there's a good chance that Denver can come out of nowhere. They did it last year and won 55 games or plus around it and came out of nowhere. So if I had to put a bet on a team that can come out of nowhere, I say Memphis will do it because they just traditionally are strong right now. Denver will be the second alternative, but I don't know if they'll make it this year.
And just realize how the NBA manages to squeeze another 3 to 4 weeks of weak-ass playoffs on us. I mean, we kind of watch it with glee, too, right. I guess, because I watch it, too. But when you think about it, when they put so many people in there, you have a bunch of levels of the playoffs that you're just waiting to clear out the mess.
I know. You got to go through there. Every team needs to have a champion, even if its championship is not the finals. I'm done. New Sports is over, man. Let me get out of here because I'm ready to go eat some chicken.
Oh, there's some cat.
And some lasagna.
Smells like fish, but tastes like chicken. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. That's Victor Allen's New Sports. Victor Allen's own unique fan perspective on sports. Victor Allen's New Sports is a recurring segment of the Morning Coffee with Mario show. You can catch it live Monday through Wednesdays as part of the regularly scheduled broadcast segment.